good news, in my opinion, as your mayor, about our Albuquerque Rapid Transit, our BRT project in the city of Albuquerque, our art line. I think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for the city of Albuquerque. We have spent the better part of the last 5 years studying this, studying it from the inside, studying it from the outside, talking to experts, talking to the best engineers in the world, the best transportation minds out there about what is the next logical step for transportation in the city of Albuquerque. Right now we have a rapid ride system on Central Avenue. We have the green line, we have the red line, we also have the 66, which is our hopper bus. Central Avenue is by far our most used transit corridor in the city of Albuquerque. About 45% of all riders in our city are on that one corridor. That's why when we started looking at this next logical step for transportation that we centered on Central Avenue. It connects 32 of our other transit lines in the city of Albuquerque, and the fact that we're putting this project on Central Avenue really gives us an opportunity to be the first gold standard bus rapid transit line in the nation. So as you know, this week the president's budget came out, and in that budget there was $69.7 million for this project. There are already $30.9 million in other federal funds that are available and ready to go for this project. There's $5.4 million of matching city money for this from the federal dollars, and there's a $13 million city council approved bond issue that's already ready to go. So what that really means is this project is viably funded at this point in time. Our experts tell us that when these projects get into the president's budget, I don't think there's ever been an instance where they weren't, where they didn't move forward. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for the Federal Transit Administration to get us a letter giving us authorization to proceed with the project, even during the pending budget negotiations. So we're confident that we have the funding in place. And I can tell you, as a guy that's been here since I was 19 years old, I moved here. I drove into Albuquerque in 1982, and I had the first night in town. I stayed at the Highway House Motel in Nob Hill. That's where I stayed, and I love Central. I love the Mother Road. We have one of the great assets in America, one of the great cultural assets, and one of the great transportation assets. We have the longest stretch of Route 66 in the country. And we have tremendous opportunities that we have not been taking advantage of. And I believe that the art line is going to allow us to not only provide great public transportation for those folks that need it, for the working family that only has one car or no car, for students, for the people that we normally think about as transit riders, but it also, from outside experts tell us, it has the opportunity to create $2 to $3 billion worth of economic opportunity. I've spoken just in the last couple of days with people that are involved with over $150 million worth of projects that are either on the drawing board, starting construction, or are being planned now, that see this project as a tremendous catalyst for them. So there's been a lot of questions over time. We've had, this has been about a 5-year study process. I believe we've had 18 to 20 public meetings on this. We have presented this project to somewhere around 6,000 people in person, at larger gatherings and at smaller gatherings. Lots of discussion, still lots of questions out there. So what I'd like to do this morning is we're going to answer all of your questions today, and we've got some folks here that are advocating for the project. I would like to invite people to go to our website, which is brtabq.com, brtabq.com.
Albuquerque's historic Central Avenue is the heart of Albuquerque. Art Deco defined the first transformation in the 1940s, but a new art form will define the second transformation. This art is sleek, modern, and clean, and it's going to connect the best of the past with the best of the future. What is this art form? It's Albuquerque Rapid Transit, and it's coming to Central Avenue in the fall of 2017. All strong communities have a stable and reliable public transit system. Central Avenue is still Albuquerque's main street and is quickly becoming the city's innovation corridor. Art brings affordable, modern transportation to the city's most important destinations. Demographics are changing. Studies show baby boomers and millennials have something significant in common. They're driving less and prefer to live in close proximity to the things that matter most to them, like work, school, healthcare, the neighborhood grocer, coffee shop, or gym. Central Avenue is already beginning to experience renewal. With easy access, improved streetscapes, and walkability, ART will attract more people that want to live, work, and play along the corridor. Passengers will find ART easy to use. Before boarding, use the kiosks at any station to purchase tickets or get them electronically using your smartphone. System maps and real-time vehicle information will make your trip easy to plan. On the west side, starting at the Central and Unser Transit Center, ART travels in regular lanes until it reaches the Coors Boulevard station. At Coors Boulevard, 2 dedicated lanes and signal prioritization will make your trip smoother than traveling by car during rush hour. Old Coors Station is next, and then we head to Atrisco Drive. Level boarding and dual sliding doors allow you to enter and exit quickly, and vehicles are designed with comfortable seats and wide aisles. Once on board, power up, connect to the Wi-Fi, and get working, or sit back and relax. It's time to cross the Rio Grande. New York is the next stop. See the aquarium, biopark, and zoo. Just past the Rio Grande station and Old Town, ART's 2 dedicated lanes become 1 to accommodate narrower streets in this area. You are now arriving at 15th Street. As we approach downtown, ART mixes with traffic and stations get closer together. Here you can make easy business connections, visit the future home of Innovate ABQ, or take the Rail Runner Express to Santa Fe for the day or a weekend getaway. Leaving downtown, ART becomes a single dedicated lane. The next station is located at Walter Street. You have now arrived at Cedar Station and Presbyterian Hospital. The next station is University, home of UNM and close to CNM. Planning is already underway to expand ART from University Station to the University Health Sciences Center, CNM, and the Albuquerque Sunport. Our next stop is Cornell, UNM's front door. Now you're entering Nob Hill and the Bryn Mawr Station. Here you will find a unique blend of residences, businesses, restaurants, and entertainment. Bicyclists can store their bikes near the station or bring them on board. Next are stations at Solano, Washington Street, and San Mateo Boulevard. Crosswalks and pavement markings make it safe and easy to access the median stations. Raised platforms allow quick boarding for everyone. Dedicated lanes continue all the way to Louisiana Station, home of the State Fair and Expo New Mexico. At Louisiana, ART merges into regular traffic, with service going north to ABQ Uptown, major shopping corridors, and the Uptown Transit Center, or east to Tramway. Central Avenue has a lot of untapped economic potential. With ART ridership projected to double in the first year of operation, ART is a smart investment. Modernizing transportation systems is just one of many city initiatives currently underway. Federal funds will pay for 80% of the ART construction cost, bringing $4 in federal funding into the local economy for every $1 of local funding. That's a heck of a deal. The results will be faster travel times, better on-time performance, and improved safety and security. So, get the word out and come aboard. In the fall of 2017, a new ART form will appear on Central Avenue. Albuquerque Rapid Transit, connecting people, creating place, and driving opportunity. Visit brtabq.com for more details.
I think that video is going to be great for the community. You know, we get so many questions or so many misunderstandings about the project, even though our staff has gone out and done a tremendous job answering every question that's been asked. It's just nice to have one place to consolidate that information. So hopefully we can get our community to take a look at that. This is part of a much bigger transportation agenda that I've had as a mayor. First, they said we couldn't get Paseo and I-25 done. We lost an initial bond issue. Then we went out, we teamed our dollars with the federal government. We had the legislature and the governor bring in $30 million. The voters of Albuquerque approved $50 million, and we got Paseo and I-25 finished. And that's all about cars. That's all about driving. That's all about connecting east and west, getting across the river that way. We're fighting for Uber. Hopefully that bill will pass in Santa Fe. We need ride sharing. We're working on a 50-mile activity loop, bicycle loop around the city of Albuquerque. We're adding for bicycle transportation. And now with ART, we're talking about the next logical step for public transportation. So I think it really speaks to our community that there's a need, there's a desire out there to do these projects that really can make a difference for us. So where we are now is we are hoping to start construction sometime in May of this year. I would like to make sure that the brunt of this construction gets done while I'm the mayor. That way the next mayor, when they come into office, and as you know I've self-term limited, when they come into office, whoever he or she is, they'll be able to take this project. It'll be primarily completed by that point in time, and there'll be lots of things that happen during a construction project like this. We'll shoulder those during this administration, and hopefully hand this off in a way that it's up and running, ready to go. There may be a few small things to complete, but the most of the construction, the brunt of it, will be done. So we're hoping to have this done by late 2017. There's several folks that want to talk, and I've got some other things that I'd like to hit on, but let's bring Gary Opedal up now. Gary Opedal is my Director of Economic Development. He's going to say a few words. We've got Vanessa Roanhorse from the Small Business Resource Collaborative, and then we've got some local folks that want to come up and talk to you about this from their perspective as well. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to commend the mayor for being dedicated to this. My focus is on economic development. And I see this as a huge catalyst for economic development. It makes the job of the whole system of economic development much easier. And if you're not excited about this project, you really got to check your pulse, because this is what is going to be a new way of catalyzing the backbone of Albuquerque. We know it's a multifaceted project. It involves transit-oriented development, construction management. It involves our neighborhoods, and it involves business preparedness and business resiliency. Our businesses are the backbone of our economy. We care deeply about them, but we want the community to be involved and help itself through this time. So toward that end, I want to introduce Vanessa Roanhorse, who's going to talk about our Small Business Resource Collaborative and how we are going to assist the companies along Central.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
See you.
My name is Vanessa Roanhorse. I am the project consultant for the Small Business Resource Collaborative. We're a collaborative that has just formed with support of local non-for-profits from the City of Albuquerque, whose very mission is dedicated to the thriving of small businesses in our community. The Small Business Collaborative is a resource in which we have one-on-one small business consultants who will be coming to your businesses along Central Avenue to provide you the most salient support regarding financial services and marketing to help you prepare and move through the construction during the art implementation project. The program is not something that hasn't been tried or tested. We have partnered and modeled this effort after national award-winning projects done along a light rail in Minneapolis. So we are hitting the ground this Monday. We will be available. Please contact us. We are here for you in your community. Our direct email is sbrc.abq@gmail.com. We're going to have a website available. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. But I encourage you as a small business to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So I was in Washington the day that we found out about the funding, and I actually went to the FTA and talked to the leadership there. When I heard about the funding, my first phone call wasn't to my engineers. My first phone call was to Gary Opedal, my Economic Development Director. And I said, Gary, I want the best-in-class program to work with these small businesses up and down Central to make sure that we're doing everything we can to minimize disruption, to help them not just survive but thrive through this construction. And I think we're going to have a world-class program along those lines as well. There will be a new app set up. It will be 398 for art, and it will have 24/7 information. It will be answered live for people during construction so that we can answer their questions as well. And we're also going to stage this. So as the construction, so right now we're working on the scheduling for this project. We met with our contractor. We have a great local contractor that's been selected, Bradbury and Stam. We met with them yesterday. They're doing a comprehensive schedule so that we could be able to tell people when we're going to be in front of their businesses, and not just the day before. We're going to go out a month before, 3 weeks before, 2 weeks before, a week before. We're going to work with the neighborhoods. We're going to work with the businesses on on different blocks when we're in front of their places of business, and we're going to do everything we can to help them, work together on this, whether that is signage, whether that is special promotions, whatever it happens to be. And we think we've got a great team put together to do that. We just want to make sure that we get this thing done right. I think we've designed the best of its kind project in America. We will be the gold standard. We will have other cities come in here to find out how we did this, just like I've been on my own nickel and on the city dime out to Cleveland to look at Euclid Avenue, which is kind of the current gold standard. People will come to Albuquerque to see how to do this, so we're really excited about it. I'm going to have some business owners come up. I know that I've got Rob Monroe, who's the owner of O'Neill's, and David Sierra, owner of Metro PCS store, is here, as well as David Silverman. So why don't you all three come up, and let me just have you say a couple of words, and then I've got a few thank yous, and then we're going to answer your questions. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Come on, Dave. Oh, just grab the side here.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thanks for coming.
Well, I guess I would like to say that as owner of O'Neill's Pub and Gioco Sports Bar and Newton's Cradle Co-working Space, all three of them that are right on Central Avenue, I'm excited for this project. Especially in Nob Hill, we have grand opportunities that the art is going to help us with. So in Nob Hill, we have pedestrianism sort of despite ourselves. We have narrow sidewalks. We have the landscaping in the medians rather than over my bald head. We are going to get amenities from art that are really great for us, whether it's broader sidewalks, better landscaping. All of these things help pedestrianism, and that's what we really need in Nob Hill. The social aspect of having rapid transit so people can get to work faster, get to health care, spend more time with their families, maybe not have to have 2 cars anymore so they have extra money in their pocket. Maybe they'll spend it in my shop, I don't know. All those things are great, and that's why I'm excited about rapid transit.
Could you say your name for us? Spell it out.
Yeah, it's Robert Monroe. Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T, last name Monroe, M-U-N-R-O.
You're with O'Neill's.
I am.
My name is David Silverman. I'm with Geltmore LLC. We're a family-owned real estate development company here in Albuquerque. We are investing in a project in downtown Albuquerque called the Imperial Building, which is a mixed-use development with 74 apartment units, 23,000 square feet of retail space that's grocery anchored. So spending the last 3.5 years working on that project, we've spent a lot of time in downtown Albuquerque and looking at what our urban landscape looks like. And we have a great opportunity in this community to plan for the future. And in the 70s, there were decisions made before I was born to, move to the suburbs, and that was great. I think a lot of people benefited from that, but the world has changed, and we're moving in a new direction. And a lot of other cities are chosen this direction, and I think they've had a lot of success because of it. That's planning for urban development. Any urban development requires urban infrastructure. The most basic infrastructure is utilities, transportation, etc. So having a world-class transportation center riding right through our community is really, really exciting. I think it's the backbone for amazing development that can come. Development that encourages healthier lifestyles with bicycling and walking as primary sources of transportation. So having a transportation system that encourages those things and not having to depend upon your car is really important. That's not to say that we're going to get rid of our cars completely, because we're not. We're going to have to plan on what to do with those, but it gives people another option that provides for great places and great mobility. So I couldn't be more excited about this project, and just want to thank the mayor and his staff and the transit department for all their hard work. It's been a real long road, and we should be very excited about this. So thank you.
Thanks, dude.
My name is David Sierra. I have a Metro PCS authorized agent off of Old Coors and Central. It's basically a storefront. And we used to be across the street on the south side of Old Coors. When we heard that this project was coming and it was getting closer, we kind of started thinking, well, that is the future of Albuquerque. That's what's coming. That's what you either get with it or get left behind. You know, that's the way I see it. So we talked about, you know, what are the possibilities of this being something that could be, everybody, all my neighbors were like, oh, well, the construction, what's going to happen? And what I said was, look, when this is done, this is going to make our city that much better. It's going to be an amazing thing for us to have something that other cities that are larger than us don't have. And we're going to be taking the lead on this. And the way I see it is, every day I drive through Central and I see entire families taking the bus. I mean, like a kid, a mom, a dad, you don't know, but this whole thing is going to open opportunities for, you know, these families to, you know, get in, get out. 7 minutes, I mean, that's amazing. I see people coming and going all day long on the bus stops, and 7 minutes for every stop is going to be great. Like you said, maybe they'll stop and spend that money at our locations, and it'll be great for us. The relocation was part of we made the move along with this move that's coming. The relocation was kind of part of this whole thing, to be in an area where getting off, we're right there. And we're seeing how, I've talked to a couple people since Julie and Matt came into the store about you know, what's been going on and all this, and a lot of people seem to be getting excited. Some people that are, like Mayor mentioned, is that if they see this video, they're going to get right on board. You know, a lot of people tend to have this, oh, well, it's going to be the construction and this, but the way I see it, it's going to be a very positive thing. It's already been looking like a very positive thing for everyone that's involved, and for us, I just see growth potential all the way around, up and down Central. I mean, how could you not? You know, it's amazing. It's amazing, and we also want to thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming. Say a few words.
Thank you.
I want to bring some of my team up. So if you're on the team, Bruce, Dana, everybody from Transit, David, come on up. I want to just introduce a couple of people to you, so you kind of get some faces with names. If anybody from Bradbury's here, Melissa, come on up. Susie, Gary, you've already seen. So I said earlier, this has been, if you go back and look at your media reports, I started talking about this very early in my first term. This has been a 5-year journey just to get to this point in time. And now the work really begins. Now we're going to really get out there and start making a difference for our community. Lots of people to thank. You know, I want to thank the President for including this in the budget. The President takes recommendations from the Federal Transit Administration. Anthony Fox, the former mayor of Charlotte, is the head of President Obama's transportation. He's his Secretary for Transportation. I know that he personally recommended this to go into the President's budget. The folks at FTA, I met out there really early on in my time as mayor with a gentleman named Peter Rogoff, and now it's Teresa McMillan, who's the administrator of the FTA. And I basically sat down and I said, listen, I know there's a lot of cities talking about light rail. I know there's a lot of cities talking about other transportation modes, but for a city of our size, with the resources that we have, my experts are telling me that bus rapid transit is the way to go. And I got a very affirmative response from that, almost like hallelujah, you know, there's somebody that gets this. Well, we then went along the path of letting them coach us. They can't tell us what to do, I understand. It's our city, it's our dollars, but we let them tell us what it would be to be a world-class project. So we started working with them on doing this. Bruce Rosieri is my director of transit. Dana Crawford is my deputy director. They have been out there tirelessly working door to door, conversation by conversation, listening, asking questions, bringing those concerns and questions and the optimism back to me as the mayor. We sit down, we roll up our sleeves, we work through the issues as best that we can. For municipal development, our director is Melissa Lozoya. Greg Smith, I don't think is here. I didn't see Greg here today. They've been instrumental in this as well. I know that they've got a lot of work to do during the construction process. Susie Lubar is not, I don't see Susie, but Rebecca Velarde from our group is here. We've got other representatives from planning here today, certainly our representatives from economic development. From Bradbury and Stam, Cynthia Schultz is with us today. This is our local contractor. We met with them yesterday. And the folks at HDR, David is, there he is. David is our chief consultant on this. Been very, very helpful. HDR really knows what they're doing on these kinds of projects, and they've done a lot of these nationally, so we're happy to have him. And of course, Mike Reardon, who's my COO, who's a former director of DMD. He's been out there really working with the neighborhoods and talking to people as well. And then I want to thank Senator Heinrich and Senator Udall particularly for this. Both of them, Senator Udall called me a couple of weeks ago. He personally advocated with Secretary Fox on this. I know that Senator Heinrich met with both of these gentlemen, our senators, last week when I was in Washington. Both are excited about the project and have been instrumental in helping us along this path. So with that, and now that I actually have, and Deirdre Firth is here too. Where's Deirdre? Is she here? Deirdre, thank you so much, Deirdre, for your work on that. Mike, you want to say anything? You want to take questions? How do you want to do this?
I only had two things. One was
Why don't you come on up and add your two things, and then we're going to, he's going to introduce the public process on this, give you a few things, and then we're going to open it for questions and answers. And while my experts are here, don't leave, because I might need you for something.
I want to definitely thank the mayor because he's thrown a lot of things out. But this project started out in 2002 when council said that we should have mass transit on Central, and at that time Rapid Ride was the right feel. So now that we're 15 years into those, and those vehicles are coming to the end of their useful life, many over 1 million miles on those, why not have a vehicle that can have at-grade boarding? Why not have a vehicle that has a station that allows our handicap and our accessible community to be able to board on? Why not be able to have a bus that you can buy a ticket before you even get on it for expediency and boarding? So it's the next logical step, and the mayor has been a fearless leader in that, and thank you very much for all your efforts there. The public process, and we could go all the way back to 2002 when this public process really started, but just specifically for this project, when the mayor came into office, 2011, we started with our federal delegation and seeing if it was the right way, as the mayor said. This project is rated, of all the Smart Start grants that were in the president's budget, this is tied for the highest ranking of all of those. So that means the federal government agrees that this is going to be a world-class project, and one that Albuquerque would be very proud of, again, through the mayor's leadership. So that public process has gone through 18 public meetings. I don't think Dana has any soles left on her shoes, but we're not going to stop, because the next people's shoes that are going to be worn out are Cynthia's and Bradbury Stam's, because now that we're going into construction, we're going to lay out a template for how we think we can get it constructed in the easiest way, but we're not going to bury our heads in the sand. We're going to take that plan out. We're going to go business by business and say, this is when we're proposing to be at your front door. This is the smallest amount of time that we think we can be there. How does that work? And along with Gary's team and economic development, we're going to say, while we're here, these are the resources that you have to stay vital. So that's the commitment the mayor's made for our team to do, and that's my job to be able to get that done for him, and I'm proud to be part of the team to do that. So that's all I need to say, Mayor.
All right, let's go to questions.
Do you need city council approval or any other extra approval before you begin construction?
I know that they'll have to accept the funds from a formalized standpoint, but does anybody else have a different answer
We'll
to
have
that?
to appropriate the federal funding when it comes available.
Yeah, it'll be appropriate when it comes through.
You know, a lot of the businesses and people who live in that area are worried about the traffic congestion, especially since we're finally getting a look at what it would look like.
Right.
Lane restrictions. Any comments?
Well, listen, when I'm a small business man. I spent 20 years out there trying to make a go of it in the business world, and was blessed to be successful at that. It's hard to be a small business. We get that, and we're listening. And when people have come to us and said, wait a minute, I'm not sure I can turn left here, or I'm not sure about the road in front of my business, there was a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of concern, like there always is with these kinds of projects. But as we've been able to sit down with people, and I've had them come to my office personally and sit down and walk them through the process, a lot of those concerns are alleviated. When the misinformation goes away, it helps a lot. Even after that, there are people that have concerns, and we understand that. That's why we're putting so much effort into this. I mean, I spent a little time on the internet last night. I found more than a dozen businesses in Nob Hill that have closed in the last couple of years. There's thousands of businesses up and down Central. There will be businesses starting during construction. There will be businesses closing during construction. What we want to make sure is, as a natural course of business, what we want to make sure is that we're doing everything we can to make sure that the construction isn't the major contributing factor to that. Even when we did Paseo and I-25, we had some of these same kinds of concerns. So the best thing that we can do is earnestly go about the business of listening, talking with the business owners, addressing their concerns as best we can, and then knowing that, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think this was an enormous net positive for our community. And I wouldn't be doing it if the experts didn't say it was an enormous net positive for our community. But we will never forget the folks that are out there trying to make a payroll, because they're important to us. And I think at the end of this, when we're finished, there will still be a few folks that say they didn't think it was the right idea. But I think from the standpoint of a community at large, and that's my job, is to not think about one neighborhood or another, but to think about our community as a whole. I believe it's going to be a very, very positive for our future.
But talking about that as far as congestion,
Yep.
you've talked about experts. Have there been studies that say how this is going to impact it? I mean, I grew up along a lot of these streets and seeing
Right.
go from 2 to 1 lane and knowing how much traffic is on them on a daily basis. Is there going to be more congestion? Is it something we just have to suck up and live with?
There have been a number of neighborhoods around, on this line, Edo for one, Nob Hill for one, who for years have been saying, could you please slow traffic down in our neighborhood because they're having trouble getting pedestrians across. In some of these areas, as you saw from the video, there will be the same amount of lanes as before. Sometimes the bus will be in with traffic. Sometimes there will be dedicated lanes. There are some locations along that go down to 1 lane. In those particular areas, in those particular neighborhoods, I think it's logical to understand that traffic will slow down going through those specific neighborhoods. But I believe we designed that to be in the neighborhoods that want and need that from the standpoint of an economic development. And then don't forget, when you look at the video, these lanes don't have a wall between the bus and the cars. If there's an emergency, the police cars and fire trucks can get in those lanes. They're going to be concrete lanes, and then the rest of it will be asphalt. So there'll be new asphalt from curb to curb with concrete lanes in the center. If there was, God forbid, an emergency in the city and we had to get everybody out of town quickly, those lanes become available. During Summerfest, we do, if there was a train or if there's a rail there, we couldn't do this. But with buses, we can just take them around the neighborhood so that we can still be open for the Twinkle Light parades and we can still be open for the Summerfest events and those kinds of things just like we do today. So there will be some areas that go down to 1 lane, and that's different. There's a lot of things that are going to be different about this project, but based on the studies that we've done and based on input from the community and what best practices show us, I think that the net result's are positive.
And we're also going down to 1 lane to maintain parking through a lot of these areas.
Yeah, and in some of these areas,
Some of
yeah,
the businesses.
that was a big question. People were really concerned about losing their parking, and my staff and our experts tell us that Nob Hill, for example, even though this is about much more than Nob Hill, it's about Atrisco, and it's about East Central, it's about West Central, it's about downtown, it's about the university. But in Nob Hill, there were some questions about parking. I don't believe they're going to lose a single parking spot.
We'll have to move some around, but
Yeah, we're moving them around, we're reconfiguring them, but I think they'll have the same amount of parking.
I know you touched base on it a little bit, but could you elaborate more on what a recommendation means? I know it's not like final or set in stone. And what steps are
You want to hit that one, David? HDR, he wants to know about the president's, but you're asking about the certainty?
what does recommendation mean exactly, and what are steps that are needed in order to get that approval?
So HDR is our national consultant. David is here from their firm. He can kind of explain to you what that means when it makes the president's budget.
So the recommendation primarily means that we met all the criteria as Mr. Reardon discussed, and we scored very highly. So that recommendation then moves forward with the president's budget that would be approved with Congress. As the mayor, I think, mentioned earlier, there has not been one project for small starts that has been recommended in the budget that submitted their grant request and did not receive the funding that they requested. So it's a huge step in the process. We have to go through a process to negotiate the agreement with the Federal Transit Administration. But that at this point is, they think we have a good project. We're ready to move forward with that.
And then explain the letter of no prejudice and how that works, and so that the city can start engaging in the project. Yeah.
So as Michael calls it, a pre-construction agreement, or what FTA calls a letter of no prejudice, we'll have to submit a letter requesting that FTA allow the city to spend local funds and some of those other federal funds to count as towards our full funding grant agreement. So we have to submit that, the schedule, documentation. They'll ask us some questions, and then they'll send us a letter back saying that issuing that letter of no prejudice, saying we can then begin that work, and it'll be able to count towards the full funding grant.
Which happens in other cities. This is what other cities do.
Right.
So
Very common.
this is a well-worn process. I mean, it's been done lots.
Is there a timeline to when we know it's completely final?
Well, the next thing for us, I believe, is to wait for the letter from the FTA, basically saying you're allowed to spend federal and local funds to get moving forward, and that allows us to make this.
Within the next 2 months.
Yeah, we think within a couple of months.
Could you also spell your first and last name for us?
Sure.
Sure, it's David Leard, David, D-A-V-I-D. Last name is Leard, L-E-A-R-D, with HDR Engineering.
As
Thank you.
recently as last week, the city was describing this as a $100 million project, but now it's at 119. Can someone explain
Sure.
the difference?
I'm going to have Mike talk about that. And one question that comes up along those lines too, Dan, is are the buses included in the 119? The short answer is yes. So there will be some federal funding for the new buses. As we said, these Rapid Ride buses that we had, and I'll give a shout out to Rapid Ride. It was the logical step at the time, right? So we're building upon that with this project. But those buses are at the end of their useful life, and so the part of the 119 is the buses itself. I believe, Bruce, there's some additional funding for there's 18 new buses being ordered that will be ordered for this project. But Mike can talk to you about some of the things that we've done with some of the streetscaping and some of the additional things for the neighborhoods that have added to some cost as well, that are outside the actual function of the bus.
Right. So as we were talking through those 18 public meetings and Dana's worn out shoes, when we were talking to neighborhoods, there was requests for more infrastructure. So for instance, a couple of things that have come out of these meetings is we were going to do the pedestrian level lighting that's currently in Nob Hill, but we're going to do that for the entire stretch of the construction zone. Wide sidewalks, there's only a few spots, and because of right of way, we're not going to be able to do it. But for the majority of this whole entire section, sidewalks will be at least 6 feet wide, if not wider. Maintaining the on-street parking. So some of these things have added to the cost of it, but that's going to be local funds that we were going to spend. So our percentage of federal versus local is staying the same. So we've got as the mayor said, we've got practically $69.7 million in dedicated federal money from the Small Starts grant. We've got $30 million from other federal money in our region for either transit projects or for streetscape projects on Central Avenue. Then we have $20 million total of GEO bond or revenue bond funding local to get to the $120 million that we have for this project. That includes all of contingencies, all buses, all right-of-way, all design. That's total project cost.
And there's contingencies in that budget.
Including
there's two contingencies, I think, right?
Yes, there's a federal transit authority contingency, and then we assume that the contractor will probably want to have a little contingency for themselves. But
so in short, Dan, that's part of the listing process. Those dollars don't have anything to do with getting the bus in place. Those dollars have to do with making the streetscapes beautiful and doing the things that the neighborhoods want to do. And I would guess that during the project, there will be other neighborhoods come up and say, hey, listen, while we're doing this, could we talk to our city councilor? You know, each city councilor gets $1 million every 2 years. I'm sure there'll be some other things in the neighborhoods, whether it's signage or things that the neighborhood wants. You know, why not wrap them around the project?
How tough will Central be to access during construction?
A couple of things that are important. There will always be a lane open on Central. That's one of the things that was a big concern for people. You know, how long is the street going to be closed off? And people kind of look back at the lead coal project that we did a couple of years ago. Much different project. That project was about a 10-foot diameter pipe going into the ground where the contractor had to cut curb to curb, dig deep holes in the street to put this pipe in, you know, shoring boxes, all these things, big, you know, excavators. This project, the good news is that it's basically a surface project. It's about taking up the old asphalt, and if the contractor, you know, if I'm saying something wrong, let me know. But it's about taking out the existing asphalt, replacing some of the curbs, coming back in with new asphalt and new colored concrete lanes in the center. There's not a lot of deep work to do here other than at the stations that go along. Last week, Mike Reardon and I met with the Water Authority. There was a lot of discussion about $30 million in water lines that are needed. Let me clarify that. To do this project, there's about $4 to $5 million worth of work that the Water Authority needs to do. And this came from our meeting last week. And those dollars are part of their existing opportunities and plans as a water authority. Now, if the Water Authority makes a decision and they want to replace some antiquated lines at the same time, if they want to do some other improvements for businesses, connectivity, whatever it happens to be, they're certainly welcome to work with us while we have the pavement open to do that. But they do not have to do that. That will be their decision. And so we're kind of moving forward with this idea that there's about $4 to $5 million of the work that needs to be done. And that will not, I believe they told us definitively that would not increase rates or anything like that. I'm not sure I answered your question, though. Did I got off on something else. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay,
You said
thanks.
one lane will always be open.
Yeah, one lane will always be open, absolutely. Yeah.
And just one point on top of that is, while Bradbury's only been on the project for a short time now, the plan is we've got 5 segments along Central that this is going to be holding. There'll be a construction phase in each one of those 5 progressing as it goes. So there'll be a small segment in each of these segments that's under construction, but the hope is to be at the maximum of 60 days in front of any one person's business at a time. And those are the pieces of detail after we fine tune our version of it that we're going to go out to the public and actually talk about. This is when we're going to be in front of your business on the proposal. Does that work for you, or how can we accommodate your business more than that? So we're getting down to the block by block level and actually scheduling within 2 block segments of Central right now about when we think we can be there. And that's a testament to Bradbury jumping on board right away, only being on the project for 3 weeks, and starting to dig into that type of level of detail.
So is it 6 segments? So basically 6 simultaneous projects?
There's
Or 5?
There's 5 segments along Central Avenue.
So 5 simultaneous projects kind
Yeah,
of.
we'll stage the project in a way that minimizes disruption to Central. So I think I'll just wrap up with this because I think we're done with our questions. We're going into this with our eyes wide open. This is a $120 million project on Central Avenue. This is going to be great for construction jobs. It's going to be great for creating jobs in the future. But it's also going to be a construction project. I just feel very comfortable that we've got a team in place with a can-do attitude that will work with the businesses, and when things come up, and they will, hit something underground that you didn't think was there or whatever. I'm a contractor by trade. We understand that. I think we've got the right people on board to work through those issues and to minimize them. So I'm just really looking forward to this. I'm happy for my city. This is a great town, and this is a great project. And when we're done with this, and when we start seeing the fruits of this, maybe not while I'm the mayor, but years, some while I'm the mayor, some in years out, I'm just going to enjoy watching my city thrive. And so I'm just really proud of the team. I'm really proud of everybody that came together. And then our ears will be open the whole project. So if there's people that have questions and concerns, we'll address them. We'll address them head on, and we'll work through it. So thank you. Appreciate you coming.